This is a GoPro, one of the biggest action cameras in the world. If you're trying to jump a motorcycle over a pool of sharks, this is probably going to be your camera. But in the world of filmmaking, you don't really see these that much. GoPros have a very distinct look to them. They got that super wide fisheye lens, the crisp focus on everything in frame. You can get some crazy footage with these things, but you probably wouldn't shoot, an hour-and-a-half narrative feature film with it. That's exactly what I did. Okay, let's take it back in time a little bit. The year is 2023 and I want to make a movie. The challenge is movies take a lot of work and usually a lot of people. I needed to think of something I can actually make with the resources that I had. So I went in my big book of ideas. Check this out. If you're like a creative person of any kind, would highly recommend doing something like this. I literally just write down every idea I have in post-it notes, no matter how stupid it seems at the time, because sometimes it can spark a whole brainstorming session and, well, you'll see. So it started off with a couple of scattered ideas I had around 2022. Like this one was about documenting the final 100 days of college, and I wanted to have like a big digital countdown clock on my wall. This one was about some kind of deal with a production company where the subject would get filmed for like 1 year and ends up regretting it. And then this last one was like just a celebrity trying to live his life. Even on his worst days, he's still famous and has fans coming up to him all the time. So just kind of like vague ideas. None of these are really good on their own, I don't think, but that's why you write everything down, because I ended up combining all this stuff into one movie idea. The final movie idea was this college kid who makes a deal with a production company to live stream his life for 100 days. And the movie just kind of follows him getting more famous and how fans keep bothering him. And I love this idea because I knew I could actually make it. It really let me focus on the story and the characters rather than trying to set up lights and a camera and trying to make it look like a big budget Hollywood thing, because it's not supposed to look like that. It's supposed to look like a crummy live stream, Even though I wanted this movie to feel as realistic as possible, that came with a problem that it could also be super boring. Originally, I wanted the main character just to be like an average Joe kind of guy, but like who would watch a 24/7 live stream of some boring guy eating cereal or taking a shower? I don't know. It sounds like a bad movie. I really put a lot of work in the pre-production stage to make every part of the story as big and exciting as possible, including the characters. So with the main character Ivan, I really thought, okay, what kind of character would actually agree to have his life live streamed 24/7? Maybe someone who's low on money or who's not super smart, but most importantly, who would be fun to watch for like an hour and a half just living their life? I took inspiration from a ton of other movies and TV shows, especially with the characters. I know with my character Ivan, some of the inspirations were Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad. I love that guy. Todd Sanchez from BoJack Horseman. I think maybe Pete Davidson, but that didn't really resonate in the character much. And I did this with all the characters in the movie. I wrote down their lore. I had pictures of characters that I thought would be kind of inspired by them, or that I would take inspiration by. I don't know. And I wrote these characters with real people in mind that I knew in real life that I would actually cast for the movie. Also, just in terms of inspiration, I also watched a lot of found footage movies, anything involving live streams I'd kind of tried to study up on. Not necessarily to copy, but also just to make sure I wasn't doing anything so similar that has already been done. I've heard a lot of people say that my movie is kind of like a modern day Truman Show, and I always like that. Story-wise, they're pretty similar, but if you watch the movies, they just feel totally different. I also realized the main character needed a really good reason for doing this 100-day live stream, and I decided that the agreement with the production company would be that he gets a grand prize of $100,000, but only if he live streams for a full 100 days. If he stops before then, he gets no money. Kind of just sounds like a Mr. Beast challenge now, but this is 2023, and I don't think he was locking people up then. Oh, okay. I don't want beef with Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast, please. I don't know what. In terms of developing the plot, I feel like I really had a lot of freedom for what I can do. I mean, the baseline was just oh, what's the craziest thing that can happen in a live stream? So what I did was, over the course of a couple months, I would just write on index cards any kind of interesting thing I thought would be cool to see in this movie. As I got like the characters and the dynamics more figured out, I started to actually come up with some kind of timeline here. And since it was like a 100-day broadcast, it made it really easy to kind of line everything up. Like, this is day 1 up here, and then this is day 100 down here. So all the white index cards are just the ideas that I wrote down, very, very basic, and all the yellow ones are numbers. So like, this is day 2, this is day 6, day 11. I don't know, I really just like having physical stuff like this to help keep me organized, and you know, oh, I can move this scene over here, I can move this scene down here. I like being hands-on with this kind of stuff. I feel like an important thing to note is these cards were all moving around even while I was filming. Like, it's not like I finished writing down the story and the plot and then that was set in stone. It was constantly evolving. Even the last couple scenes here are completely different than what actually ended up in the movie. But this was just a really good way to just get my ideas down and get things organized. Filming this movie was a lot of fun. I filmed with so many people on this project, whether it was friends, family, or sometimes even strangers we met on the day of shooting. But using the GoPro to shoot everything just made the whole process so much easier because we didn't have to worry about any technical stuff. We didn't have to set up any lights or try to get any shots in focus. It was literally just point the camera in the general direction of what we were doing and then just kind of improv from there. For the audio, I used 2 lavalier microphones, which we got one on right now. Can you see it? There it is. A huge tip for anyone making movies or even just videos for that matter is bad video is forgivable if you have good audio. Always focus on good audio. These lav mics, I'll leave a link in the description or something, but these lav mics have done great things for me. I never really wrote a full script for this movie. I would mostly just show up on the day of shooting with my actors with like something in my notes app being like, okay, here's kind of what I want us to talk about. Like, here's the points I want us to hit, but just like have this conversation in your own words. Like, I think that just helped the acting seem more authentic. I feel like you can always tell in like student films when someone just blatantly memorizes a script. Like, I really like the kind of improv feel of just covering the main points, but say it however you normally would. Speaking of improv, some of my favorite scenes in this movie were improv on the day of. There's this one scene where Ivan and his girlfriend Liz are in a car together, and his girlfriend's totally using him for his fame, but he hasn't really caught on yet. And I know the feeling I wanted to have in this scene, but I just didn't know how to show it visually until I was on the day setting up in the car. I saw this scented tree hanging from the mirror. You know, those little, I don't know, scented tree. We figured out the scene where Ivan and his girlfriend are about to kiss, but she notices that scented tree is like blocking the view of the live stream. So she like jumps out of her seat and kind of takes down the tree. And that kind of makes Ivan realize like, oh, does she even actually like me, or is she doing all this for the live stream? It was just so easy to just go out with the GoPro and have like my costume or outfit or whatever, and then just come up with scenes on the fly. Like, that was such a uniquely cool experience. Very fun to shoot. I really did reach out to as many people as I knew for this movie, like friends, my brothers, my parents, my grandparents, even strangers. There was this one scene where we're doing like pranks on the boardwalk. We literally just asked random people on the boardwalk, like, hey, want to be in our movie? Like, just pretend you're falling for this prank. Barely anyone in this movie had any acting experience, so thank you so much to everyone who helped me with it. I think everyone did a pretty great job. Really, the only editing I did for this movie was like trimming clips and rearranging them, which might sound easy, but editing this taught me so much about the importance of pacing in a movie. There's really no music or effects or anything like that until the end credits, so I had to be really smart with the editing to make sure the movie wasn't like freaking boring. There were some talking scenes that went on for like minutes and minutes that I just had to cut down to like 20 seconds just in the middle of a conversation, because I really had to cut any kind of fluff for this movie to really work. There were some scenes that I ended up shooting over and over again for like multiple days. I feel like you couldn't tell from watching the movie though, because everything feels kind of clanky and awkward, but I was super picky about what made it into the final cut. I feel like when people talk about movies, they think about the super expensive Hollywood looking stuff. It doesn't need to be like that. You can make a movie with your phone and a couple of friends, or a GoPro, There's no rules to filmmaking, even though a bunch of people say that there are. I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who appeared in the movie, including Karan, Michelle, Dylan, my brother Eric, and my parents. Even though it was a couple years ago now, I'm still super proud of this movie, and everyone who was featured in it did such a great job. Go check out the movie if you haven't already. I also just want to give a quick shout out to Joel Haver. He's a YouTuber who does short films and feature films, and if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have tried to make this movie. Thank you to everyone who's watched this movie. The response has been incredible. I think it has like 45,000 views now, which is insane for a feature film on YouTube. I'm definitely gonna try to post more on this channel, but yeah, thank you for watching, and go make a movie. You can make a movie. Use your phone, use a GoPro, use your Ring doorbell. All right, I'm going. See ya. I don't know.